Yes, I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Grill the Podcast Show, baby. And you know what that sound means. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I've been strolling and trolling, and I told you, and basically, hey, I got an update about something I reported on yesterday, but I won't get into that. I'm going to give you some scary news. Oregon experienced over 40 earthquakes in 24 hours. If you're one of those people, you're like, why is he mentioning this? I don't believe in climate control or climate change. It believes in us because something is happening. It just brought me back when I saw the movie, whatever that movie, 2012 or whatever it was, when all the earthquakes and the earth crust was shifting and all of this stuff was going on. And then on TV, they had this actor playing Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he says, the one thing we need to do is not to panic. And then the earthquake hit. I'm not laughing about the earthquake, but just that scene kind of just takes me back to when I read this. I'm like, 40 earthquakes, come on. In 24 hours, it was 4 point this magnitude up to 5.8. Of course, luckily, no injuries. That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to read. No injuries. But just think about that for a second. Over 40 earthquakes. What's happening up under the ground? And this is up in this is Oregon, so there's some displacement going on. Of course, you don't have to believe in it. I just wanted to share that with you on my strolling and trolling, but thank God that there were no deaths or injuries reported. It was just a whole bunch of ground shaking. But the earth must be changing on a geological scale. So, you can look into that. You can go find it if you want to, or you can just have fun with the fact that the earth was shaking. It was bouncing that thing. The earth was shaking. It was bouncing that thing. The earth was shaking. It was bouncing that thing, because it really was. Over 40 times the earth twerked. So now I'm going to go on into something that I reported yesterday about Mr. Justice Smollett. Let me pull up what I said about Justice Smollett. Yesterday, he was whistling Dixie in the courtroom. Basically, he implicated Don Lemon, saying Don Lemon warned about the cops. So, of course, top of the headline today is CNN is under fire and people are calling for the firing of Don Lemon. I said that because after the whole Chris Cuomo incident, him trying to help his brother, these organizations, these media outlets are looking horrible because of what their employees have done in the past. Chris Cuomo is sexual harassment and texting women or whatever, but Don Lemon texting his friend or helping his friend out saying, hey, they don't believe you. You need to work on that. So, of course, and then Justice Smollett, I didn't really read it. I just saw it over and over. They said he did a horrible job in his own defense. How do you do that? You've had over a year, 2 years, almost 4 years to plan for this case, and you still screw yourself up. But yeah, so Don Lemon, I'm sorry to hear that's going to happen to you, but they are cracking down, brother. And not to be racist, they got one white man, they need a brother, because that just shows that there is no one's better than the other. If you helped him out, just like Chris Cuomo tried to help his brother out, you deserve the same thing, to be fired, to be relieved of your duties, because how many times have you done that? That is the integrity part. How many times have you done it? And for Justice Smollett, why take down the whole ship when you could just jump overboard and be done with it? You did a Titanic move. You shouldn't even mention the guy's name, but you did it. It's just a class 4 felony. You just gonna go to jail for lying to cops. People go to jail for lying to cops. I said that on my first episode about him. People go to jail for lying to cops every day. They end up with that only charge. Oh, we thought you was drunk, but you told me your wrong name, so we still got to lock you up. So, so Don Lemon, hey, keep your head up, man. Hope things will work out for you. Now, moving on to some more craziness, and not craziness. I think this young lady is suffering from some mental health issues. Drake, the rapper Drake. I don't really do entertainment, but I found it interesting that this lady, she broke into his LA mansion. Drake doesn't live in LA. He lives in Canada. She broke into his mansion And when the cops got in contact with him, and told him what had happened, or when they went to the home, when they arrived at the home, the lady had to start drinking stuff out of the refrigerator. She basically made her a sandwich, in her singing Drake songs or whatever she was doing. But yeah, so she done made herself at home, and when the cops arrived, she locked herself in a room so they wouldn't come get her. Now, of course, that's a little weird. It's not your house. So basically, Drake got the phone call and he told him not to press charges. Do not lock this lady up. That's what he said. Do not lock her up. Do not do anything. So of course that's nice, because he did what any smart person or person who cares about people would believe, that something's going on with this young lady mentally. That's what he did. So he said no. Now, instead of this lady going to get help, or maybe discussing that with somebody, laying on somebody's sofa, she has decided to sue Drake for $4 billion, yes, with a B, saying that he defamed her name on Instagram, social media, and things like that. Of course, they looked into it. Drake saying he don't even know the lady. He never even heard of the lady. He knows nothing. She broke into his house. That's the first time. He's never even seen the lady. Drake's basically saying, I don't know nothing about this lady. But she's saying he defamed her. Now, of course, $4 billion is a big number. It's outlandish. But it's the attorney who's really going to make money off of this. You know that, right? From the publicity, from the interviews. The attorney whoever sat down and said, you have a case, ma'am, you do have a case against him, was stupid. But then I understand why you did it, Mr. Attorney. You did it so you can get that money, so you can go on that circuit, so you can do those interviews. You did it for that reason, which I understand, because it's fake. There's no merit to this thing. That. But hey, it's a public figure. Drake is big, and you make it such an outlandish number that he'll probably give her $30,000 just to help her out, and you get your percentage of that. See, I it's a game. Of course, the people, this is the I told you so. I'm just telling you how it's gonna go. Drake, out of the goodness of his heart, being a good guy, because everybody says he's a good guy, that's what I see across the paper. He's gonna settle with this lady so she can get help. And then they're going to say, well, maybe he was guilty. Maybe he did know her, when nothing points towards that legally. But he's probably going to do something out of the goodness of his heart so this lady can get some help. Because mental health is something that attorney should have said, hey, did you even go speak to anyone? Have you been evaluated? And if he had have done that, then, maybe I wouldn't be telling you about this, and maybe Drake's name wouldn't be dragged through the mud for somebody he don't know. But hey, it is. That's what I found on my strolling and trolling. But I'm gonna give you a quick COVID update. So Pfizer has said that the Omegatron, I don't know how to pronounce it, so please don't flag my episode. I don't want to Omicron, whatever the new variant is. You can actually take 3 shots of the vaccine and you'll be fine. Let me tell you something y'all don't know. People have been doing that for years. The doctor may say take 1 of these with food. People take 2, 3 of them with food. That's why the whole addiction to painkillers came about, because people was taking too much and they realized, I'm high. So if I take 1, it'll take away my pain. If I take 3, it will take me to heaven. Cloud 9. So that's how addiction came about. Of course, I'm not saying you're going to be addicted to vaccine, but it just bears into perspective, like, hey, on the back of that pill bottle, that Tylenol bottle, it says take 1. How many times you took 3, 4, and then they say it's about your weight size, how much you can take. So, Pfizer is basically saying get 3 shots. If you're worried about the variant, you'll be fine. And everybody's on board with it. I saw a lot of articles, then I saw something else that was stupid. I'm not going to repeat that. But hey, if you're worried about the new variant, they say just get a 3rd booster shot. Go ahead and get your 3rd booster. Go ahead and get it and you'll be fine. If you're an anti-masker, if you refuse to wear your mask around people you don't know, covering your mouth and your nose, if you refuse to do that, then that's your choice. You need to go get 3 booster shots, but it won't stop you from getting it. It'll just stop you from experiencing all the harsh sicknesses that come with it. Now, we're going to move on to something else I reported on my Strolling and Trolling. I'm saying reporter like I'm real. Live on Strolling and Trolling today at 3 o'clock clock, we have the kids' parents that have been charged. Of course, the kids' parents charged, I told you, for manslaughter in that school shooting. Now, the media monsters are throwing race into the mix. When I say they throwing race into the mix, they are claiming that black parents will be charged more now after this decision by that prosecutor. What the hell did they? Yeah, they actually said that. So basically now, since these white parents bought a gun for their white son, black parents whose children are committing, because children get to fighting and black kids go to school with guns. We know that. The black parents will be charged. Let me say something to you. My mama would have never bought me a gun at the age of 15. And furthermore, if I was doing stupid or had bad behavior, she would have made sure that gun never left it. Well, first of all, let me just delete that. That would have never happened. So if you're a parent, I don't care what your race is, no, that's what the article talked about. I don't care what your race is. If you're a parent and you buy your 15-year-old a gun, you are responsible for everything that 15-year-old child does with that gun. There is no exception to the rule. You are responsible because you gave a mentally immature child a gun, a child that was having behavioral issues in school, and you did not ask, hey, where's that gun that we bought you? Because we have to come up to the school about your behavior. Where's the gun? That's a simple question, right? And the kid never left the house with it, but that didn't happen. Now, for this idea that you want to scare black people, that's what it is. And I know it sounds like I'm being racial, but they want to scare black people into supporting this idea that they did the right thing by buying a kid a gun. That is stupid. So, see, you got to read the subliminals. Like, why bring race into it at all? Because I can tell you, being from the projects, growing up in the hood, any gun I got my hand on came from the streets. That's where it came from. Any gun that would have been ran, if I had gotten into some trouble with a gun, when they ran the serial number, it probably would have came back stolen. And that's what's happening in black neighborhoods. These guns that these kids have, they're being stolen. And of course, if you live in an area where cars are being broken into, and of course in Atlanta, in Nashville, cars getting broken into, they went for the guns, and they make that clear. That's what they're looking for, weapons. Of course, they never find them. There's a lot of criminal activity, filing down serial numbers, but to just assume that black parents, y'all should look out. Black parents, look out, because y'all got some terrible ass kids, and your terrible ass kids, you gonna be charged for your terrible ass kids. What the hell is going on in the media? But this was allowed to be out there. This boy's parents, they were irresponsible. That does not make non-white parents irresponsible. That does not make black children, African American kids who are carrying guns, the problem for the parent. Because if you watched if you watched anything that got anything to do with the hood, you have never seen a father give a son a gun and say, "This is for your trouble, son. Take care of yourself." Come the hell on. It is a tragedy that happened because they bought a 15-year-old kid who had behavior issues a gun, and now they're trying to flip it and say, hey, black people, look out. They're casting fear by using race to gain support for irresponsible parents. You have to go find it and read it for yourself. But we know what it is. Don't try to scare black people, because some people do that. They try to. Off subject, I was having a Twitter back and forth with a white guy trying to convince me to not like cops. I'm like, dude, I grew up in the projects. Believe me, who the hell you think you're talking to? In the projects, we knew who the bad cops was. We knew when to run. We knew when the red dog pulled up, that's an ass whooping coming. You better run, especially if you was in criminal activity and your name was already on the books. You better run. We knew that. But if it was a regular beat cop coming through, what are you guys up to up there? Nothing, officer. We just chilling. He keeps on riding. I'm just saying, sorry for the comedy. But yeah, he's trying to convince me how I feel about cops. All cops aren't bad. Most of them are good damn, and I call cops brave, because there's no goddamn way you finna get me to walk into a situation I know nothing about with just a gun and a vest on. Nah, when guns are widespread and shotguns are worse than that gun, that 9mm, get hit with a shotgun, the damage is going to be worse than a 9mm. So shout out to the brave officers, the men and women that perform that job. From a black man, we know who the bad cops are. We know why we feel the way we feel. And look at Chicago. Chicago is all over the news for the crime sprees. Oh my God. And these are black on black crimes. Okay, so like I said, kids' parents charged. There's a media article out there trying to say, black parents, look out, they're coming for you, which is just racist by that whole organization. And but it's there. Now let's get into something good. Now, you know, I love the teachers. We love them too. Teachers, we love them because I could actually complete a sentence because of a teacher. Do you think I would be doing any of the talking, any of the music that I do without a teacher? If you think you would be listening to me coherently without a teacher, you are an asshole, because someone taught you your ABCs. Do I need to do my Justin Bieber? Okay, let me find something in my head that Justin Bieber doing. Justin, stop running in the hall. I'm not running. I'm practicing my dance move. See, baby. I'm dancing. Okay, Justin, get to class. But it takes a teacher to reinforce or understand the kids. Now, out in Las Vegas, of course, across the continent, probably across the globe, I don't know, there's a shortage of educators, teachers, principals, even custodial workers. I didn't know. And of course, it's going back to COVID and the COVID mandate, whatever you want to say. But there's a shortage. Now, there's a principal. I can't say his last name. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but his first name is Joseph. I can't pronounce his last name, but he is a principal out there, and he has taken up the role of being the custodian, cleaning, and teaching classes. And you know what this principal said about taking on these new roles? He says he wants to be an instructional leader, making sure his teachers have everything they need to focus on molding young minds. Now, he didn't say that exactly. Those are my words, because I write my stories out, but I just took their words and I made it more. But basically, that's what he said. He wants to be an instructional leader to make sure the teachers have what they need to do their jobs. I mean, shout out to that dude. I wish I had my sound effects queued off, because this guy right here saying that is a big thing. And I'm going to get into something that the Twisted Teachers sent me on Instagram. A nice picture. And they covered something in their one of their episodes. And I'm going to put that in the episode. I got everything written down to go. And I'm going to get to that in the end. But, I mean, here's a question I have to ask. Where's the PTA? Where's the Parents Teachers Association, if you don't know what PTA stand for? Why aren't the parents stepping up to clean these schools and go in there for a couple of hours and sweep and mop and do what needs to be done, or come in and help out? Where's that? Because a lot of parents are just sitting at home waiting on that. You home, baby? You home? Christina, you just gonna go sing. That's what your ass gonna go do. You better do your homework before you go in there practicing your scales. So where are the parents? I mean, where are they? Because they need help. These school systems need help. They need help. At some point, the parent involvement should exceed the educators' expectations. Right now, we know there's a shortage of teachers, and of course, you got to be vaccinated. So if you're a vaccinated parent and you're sitting your ass at home trying to get TikTok views, go help out the school. Go help. I mean, stop right now. Stop. Because what this principal is doing is a great example of the educators or the bosses or the superiors in these educational system making a sacrifice. Now, I'm going to get to what the Twisted Teachers sent me. Now, they sent me a photo and they talked about it on their episode, so I'm not going to say what they say, but there's a picture of these two educators, the school system or school board, whoever, agreed to make something called a Zen Den as a reward. I guess a reward or a relaxation or a way to be away from the class. I don't know. But the picture, I'll let them tell their jokes. But it's funny how they describe it. I mean, it is to the T. But I mean, I agree that it kind of looked like it was intentional. like they weren't really relaxed. Like they were more stressed taking the picture than it was a Zen Den. But anyway, so in the picture it shows this basically a room away from all the stress where teachers, 2 or 3 educators, not many people can fit in the room, can go in there and actually get away if they needed a moment to decompress. Now that is basically being shown as a reward for the teacher's hard work. Now yes, that's what I'm saying. Now if you look at what this principal has done, he stepped in, he's kicked in. Now that shows that you have an educator who physically comes in and kicks in and shows how much he appreciates his team. And then you have an educational system that says, hey, we appreciate you teachers, you educators. We're going to give you somewhere you can go and unwind or relax or get away from your students for a minute. Now the Twisted Teachers, they got a whole nother spin on it, so you got to listen to their episode. I will put, actually it's episode 37. It's the Zen Den. Of course, I'm gonna put their link for their podcast show in the description. But hey, my whole point in mentioning that, and I had a whole nother rant before I read about this principal out in Las Vegas. Before I read about him, I was going to make a couple of jokes, but I'm like, no, switch that up, because actually trying to reward teachers at this day and age is a good attempt. Of course, you know, if you're going to photograph it, actually, if you're going to put it out there, make sure a lot of teachers can benefit from it and not 2 teachers laying on the sofa looking like they sleep. Just make sure of that. I mean, I get it, but to reward these educators for and show them appreciation, it will increase morale, and hopefully it'll bring some of these teachers back to the education system when it shows that principals like Mr. Joseph out there in Las Vegas and whoever did this Zen Den for the educators, when that stuff gets out and it shows that we appreciate you. We appreciate you as a country. We appreciate your sacrifice, because teachers, you go back to the school shooting, you go back to anything that's related to school. If you tired of your kids and you love sending them to school, is because, and your kid love going to school, it's because of the teachers and it's because of the educators. And like I said, teachers deserve a Zen Den and then some. Hey, this has been another episode of Strolling and Trolling, and welcome to the Grill.